On this Valentine's Day, I want to share with you a book titled, How to Make Anyone Fall in Love with You. I was once deeply struck by a quote from the famous psychologist and father of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, before he passed away. And I find it profoundly true. We know too little about love. This book not only offers a psychological analysis to show us how to make anyone we like us back, but it also teaches those who are in love or already married how to truly love. Love is inherently a verb, an active choice, not a passive state. Yet the truth is, many people don't know how to love. This book clearly illustrates that even if you are married, you can still approach your partner with the mindset of someone who knows how to love, making your life together much better. Today, we'll explore this renowned secret of love. So, what does it truly mean to love someone? Once we enter the official stage of a relationship, many couples inevitably encounter countless problems, ultimately leading to breakups. There's evidence that very few people in the modern world truly know how to love, which is why so many often feel lonely. And even more frightening than loneliness itself is feeling empty even when you're right next to the person you love. First, let me start this discussion with a question for you to ponder. Do you love someone because they are similar to you, or because they are different and can complement you? Many people often believe that opposites attract. A quiet, reserved man might prefer a lively, talkative woman, or that differing personalities can complement each other to form a perfect match. Because of this view, many seek a partner with a complementary personality. However, in love and marriage, we frequently encounter arguments and even relationship endings simply because of incompatible personalities. So, which viewpoint should we follow? This book offers an answer, presenting research that suggests for a long-lasting love, both partners need to have similar personalities and the ability to fulfill each other's needs. If two people have completely opposite personalities, their life views will clash, inevitably leading to moments of pain when they are together. Conversely, if their abilities are too similar, disagreements and conflicts will easily arise in daily life. Therefore, to truly love someone, the first step is for both partners to consciously build personality similarities. To achieve this, let's establish common interests. Perhaps enjoying the same movie, reading the same books, practicing a sport together, or even playing a musical instrument. At a deeper level, we need to build a shared philosophy of marriage. A person's marriage philosophy is influenced and shaped by their parents and childhood. Over time, the shortcomings and desires from their childhood or parents will become what that person seeks in their partner. Therefore, understanding your partner's family background is also very important. Why is it essential to understand your partner's marriage philosophy? Because many of us love in our own way, not in the way our partner desires. This is like your loved one wanting an apple, but you give them an orange. It's also like playing a football match where you don't know the rules but blame your teammates for not understanding you. In life, you can ask your partner about their views on love or observe their thoughts on marriage through literature, books, and movies. To build a shared marriage philosophy, love the person you love in the way they want to be loved. This is the best way to truly love someone. The second key is to find ways to complement each other's needs and abilities. When in love, people often admire a certain ability or trait in their partner that can compensate for their own shortcomings. For example, someone who lacks discipline and often stays up late might admire a person who is disciplined and diligent. Generally, through actions and words, you can discover what your partner wishes to improve or develop in themselves. And do you want to become someone who can fulfill a particular need of your partner? A beautiful and lasting love isn't just about making grand vows. It's simple yet challenging. It's about both of you aligning, growing together, complementing each other's abilities and needs. This is how two people become better, love each other more, and grow increasingly closer in their relationship. At this point, there's a timeless question that often leaves people bewildered with no definitive answer, leading to an inability to sustain love. What is love? Some believe that love is essentially an exchange, and the exchange only succeeds if the other person brings equivalent value. Others immediately object, asserting that love is a pure, sacred thing where two people give each other boundless and unconditional affection. Love cannot be bought or sold. In short, love is not so trivial. And what do you think love is? Do you believe love is an equal exchange? Love is indeed an extraordinary and beautiful force in life. To talk about it as an equal exchange, like haggling at a butcher's stall, would be too crude. However, the author presents a perspective that shows us a reality. Love always needs balance. All couples need an equal proportion. There might be an initial disparity, but ultimately, it must become equivalent. In relationships that lose balance, both partners are likely experiencing many negative emotions. And eventually, when the last straw falls, it will drown your love. Research suggests that for a happy relationship, both individuals must always maintain their self-worth at a similar level. If not entirely equal, they should at least be able to compensate for each other and maintain a certain balance across 6 factors: appearance, assets, status, reputation, knowledge, temperament, and moral character. The principle of equal value basically exists. Although we cannot measure it precisely, there are some fundamental principles we can use as a reference. We know that no one wants to be compared. If you marry a very wealthy person, the pressure will be immense. Or with someone with a vast knowledge gap, that pressure will also be significant. Therefore, the desire not to be deemed unworthy is a very common phenomenon. So, the most effective approach, of course, is not to shy away or give up, but to find ways to elevate your own value. How can we improve our self-worth? For example, regarding appearance, should we undergo cosmetic surgery? Personally, I don't oppose it. I believe that making ourselves a little more beautiful makes the whole world a bit better, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want cosmetic surgery to change your appearance, there's only one way to make yourself more beautiful: confidence. There was an experiment. They found 2 women who looked similar and were equally beautiful. Then, they asked the 2 women to pose differently next to a broken-down car on the roadside, asking passing cars to stop. The first woman straightened her chest, lifted her head, smiled, and looked directly at the oncoming cars. As soon as she signaled, the cars stopped. The other woman, however, bowed her head, hugged her shoulders by the roadside, and vaguely waved, but not a single car stopped. While both women had equally beautiful appearances, their demeanor and confidence completely changed the outcome of the experiment. Therefore, learn to make your posture and smile confident and beautiful. The book also mentions another way to increase your intangible assets. You can cultivate knowledge, read more, and become more talented. We've seen many celebrities who aren't conventionally beautiful, but because they possess genuine talent and ability, they are greatly adored by the public. Therefore, while the principle of equal value exists in love, it is not absolute. The best way to preserve happiness in love is for both partners to continuously increase their value by constantly improving themselves. Earlier, we explored the stages of an established relationship. Now, for those who have just found their other half, just starting a new love, how can we increase intimacy between 2 people during this stage? This book teaches us how to use echoing communication. Have you heard of this method? Let me give you an example to understand this technique better. Maya and Harry were chatting. Maya said, "My job is a photographer. I create art-oriented products based on client needs." Harry replied, "Oh, I see, your job is taking pictures." Maya seemed displeased and said, "It's not taking pictures, it's photography." And then she walked away. Harry was dumbfounded, not knowing what happened. From a third-person observer's perspective, Harry's way of speaking wasn't wrong. He focused the conversation on Maya. But Harry's problem was not knowing how to use Maya's own language to communicate. This communication skill is called echoing. Each person, each profession, has its distinct vocabulary. If we pay attention and remember the industry-specific terms or words that our partner frequently uses in conversation, and then apply those words when talking to them, you will create goodwill and be accepted by that person as someone intimate. So next, for those who are still single and haven't found their other half, how can you make others fall in love with you? First, remember that the first impression is incredibly important. Therefore, let's look our best at all times and everywhere. This is a necessary condition to allow ourselves to be ready for love. Do you notice that at parties or receptions, you always wear neat, beautiful, and charismatic outfits? But when you walk your dog, go grocery shopping near home, or run out to eat breakfast, you often dress too casually, even sloppily, perhaps wearing pajamas, flip-flops, or not even combing your hair. According to a statistical study, our potential partner will appear within 5 blocks around us, or most likely at your workplace, where you live, where you study, where you usually go for lunch, the gym, and so on. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to meticulously do your makeup every time you walk your dog. The author simply wants to remind you to dress neatly and tidily. Messy hair and sloppy clothes when out in public are a major turnoff, especially if you happen to meet someone you like. So, what part of the body attracts someone most during the first interaction? Do you think it's long legs, a hot body, or muscular arms? Psychologists conducted an experiment. They showed pictures of beautiful women to a group of men. Before showing them, they secretly photoshopped and enlarged the pupils of one of the women. In reality, all the women were equally beautiful, but, as predicted, most men said the woman with enlarged pupils was the most beautiful. A similar experiment was conducted by showing a nude photo from a magazine to a group of men. The psychologist used a measuring device and found that all their pupils dilated. This is very simple. When we see something attractive, our eyes often open wider. Specifically, our pupils dilate. So, we can apply this trick when talking to someone we like. At this moment, you can look at a feature you like on that person's face, perhaps their eyebrows or dimples. That person will certainly feel a bit shy, but rest assured, if our actions are not beyond bounds or impolite, no one will dislike someone who expresses admiration with their gaze. And as you look at the part of their face you like, your pupils will gradually enlarge, emitting an attraction that will fill the other person with oxytocin, an excitement-inducing chemical in the nervous system. Additionally, we can add another trick, a lingering gaze. Think back. Normally, after someone finishes speaking, don't we usually look away unless their conversation is extremely captivating and keeps our eyes fixed? If someone finishes speaking and your eyes don't wander, if you continue to look at them intently, the other person will feel more excited and interested by you. Use this trick on the person you like. When they finish speaking, don't immediately look away. Look at them for 3 to 4 more seconds, then slowly avert your gaze. If you master this trick, you will certainly be seen as an excellent listener and will be loved by many. By now, do you know how to make the person you love you back? For me, the book mentions many tips that can be applied not only to finding a life partner, but also in social interactions. For example, using a lingering gaze to become a good listener when talking to clients or making friends. We can use the echoing trick to quickly close the distance with someone. And if we use these tricks in the pursuit of love, we should act from the perspective of Cupid, shooting an arrow of love towards the other person, and remember that true love requires sincerity and giving the love that the other person desires. Most importantly, both must continuously strive, progress together, and walk in sync through life.